Tujenge taifa letu. Kenya istahili heshima, tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani. All right. Thank you very much for joining the Citizens Assembly. My name is Amerix, and I am the host of the Assembly. And as always, I just want to remind you that this assembly doesn't belong to me. It belongs to everyone who is part of this conversation. Today, we are going to have a conversation as the citizens of this country. I saw some posts and some thoughts that the protests which were being witnessed for the last 1.5 months were useless. But I want to remind them that it is out of this protest that the finance bill was dropped. It is out of this protest that half of the cabinet was sacked. It is out of this protest that the unconstitutional chief administrative secretaries position was abolished. It is out of this protest that the president can the citizens of this country are talking to them. They don't want to listen to the citizens. It is out of this protest that the president can afford to host a town hall meeting, something he had never done before. So we need to collect our wins and walk with pride and continue with the conversation as we resist and condemn the injustice meted on our people, as we condemn the hypocrisy of the media. The media has been hypocritical, pretending to be working with us while at the same time getting in bed with the government of the day. And I have warned here before that the media is not our friend. Last week, I talked to Samuel, Mercy, and I advised them and told them, be very careful when you accept media invites, because the media will mislead you, misquote you, and trap you. And that will lead to the loss of your credibility, because that's what the media wants. So be very careful when you are talking to the media and when you're going for those media interviews. So welcome. Today you have seen the president say a lot of things there, but I think it's because he doesn't understand that this new generation has a different way of doing things. He doesn't understand the language of this young generation, because the young generation are fighting for the dreams of their forefathers and the spirit of the nation. So as we prepare to have this citizen assembly, as we prepare for more speakers to come in, you can ask for a mic. The co-hosts are here. They will give you an opportunity. We don't discriminate. It's only that X gives priority to those that appear to be verified. So welcome to the Citizen Assembly, and I am proud to be part of this assembly.
Sinjage. Wacha tu nicheke njuu sitalia. Royal Sound. Inje nzita tuonyesha mambo. Koko meloni na lundu lundu. Kama hamutaki kuongea simukae. Kwa nini mnaongea na short form? OMG, WFT, LOL, Wanda. Baby Shaki, ndundundulundundu. Akia nani? Baby Shaki, ndundundulundundu. Baby Shaki. Nitwa Baby Shaki, Baby Shaki. Koko meloni na ndundulundu. Ai. Yani mlata ile kitu ilifanya ninjue nimezeeka. Niliamua niongee na Kamonja. Hapo ndio nilinjua mimi ni ancestor. Ai. My friend, kama wewe ni wa 1990s. Wewe tu ngoja kumezwa.
With our president. Do you think our president has a psychological problem? Because today he says this, tomorrow he says that. For example, today I heard him say something very interesting here. Maybe I can just read for the sake of breaking the ice and starting the program. I heard him say, we have a plan to ensure our young people have an opportunity for gainful employment. We have a program on housing, digital jobs, and export of labor. Every week, 1,000 Kenyans leave the country to work abroad. I don't know what's wrong with the president. Then again, he said something. I have now ensured that anyone who wants to work abroad will get a passport within a week. They don't even need money for air ticket. Anyway,
Yes, good evening, and thank you so much for hosting us. And what I'd say is that personally, I've been observing our current president for a very long time because he's someone who really interests me as someone who analyzes politics at a broad level. So he depicts, or he has characters which I would say, rather a personality which I would say falls under the dark triad. You see, the president, when you talk about the dark triad, basically, it's a psychological theory of personality that describes some notably offensive but non-pathological personality types. And if you look at the dark triad, it has three different types. We have the different three different personality traits. We have the subclinical narcissism in there. We have Machiavellianism. Then we also have psychopathy down there, like subclinical psychopathy. So if you look at the characters, each of the three, like the three different traits, when it comes to narcissism, narcissism has it is characterized by this magnificent sense of self-importance, and the people who have this kind of personality also, they lack empathy for others, and they also have a tendency to exploit and manipulate others for personal gain. Then, if you look at Machiavellianism, it is characterized by manipulation and exploitative approach to interpersonal relationships, and there's also a lack of morality or ethics, and to a great extent, it's always focused on achieving personal goals through any means necessary. That is something you must consider. It is by any means necessary. Then when it comes to psychopathy, it is the lack of empathy. It is characterized by lack of empathy and remorse, and impulsivity is also there, and there's a tendency of antisocial behavior. Now, if you look at these three different personality traits, they are always distinct. They are different, but most of the time they tend to overlap each other. And the reason as to why they are called dark is because mostly they have some malevolent, at the end of the day, they have some malevolent, they are characterized by some malevolent, what can I say, the goal that the person who has these traits has, they are not good intentions at the end of the day. It's usually bad. And individuals who exhibit the high levels of these traits may also engage in behaviors that are harmful to others, like lying, they cheat, and they like exploiting people. And if you look at the president currently, he depicts most of these characters, because if you look at how he lies, I can say he has a problem with chronic lying. If I were to say, he's basically a pathological liar, because he says this today, but if you come tomorrow again, the game changes. Then he manipulates people at so many levels. Most of these characters, because if you look at how he lies, he speaks, sometimes I can say he does not have.
We lost you, bro.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go on.
Yes. Okay. What I'm saying is, if you look at how when he speaks, he depicts a lot of these characters. For example, if you look at lying, the president will say A today, then tomorrow the story changes. Then, if you move to the way when it comes to exploiting, there is a lot of exploitation of Kenyans that happens in this regime, if I might say so. And if you look at how people get manipulated, you get manipulated at different levels. There is the issue of gaslighting that he does a lot. So when you come and people tell you that you cannot be clever than an entire nation, I keep saying that you can't be clever than an entire nation. An entire nation cannot come outside to tell you the finance bill is wrong, it's not what you want. Then you still come outside and tell us that it's out of propaganda that we declined or rejected this bill. Then you start saying we are wrong. An entire nation cannot be wrong. You need to understand
right.
that. Yeah.
Hold it there.
So that
there.
is what I can say. Yeah. Thank you.
Just hold it there. Senator Onyonga, welcome. Can you hear me?
Good evening. How is everybody?
Good evening, Senator. How are you?
I am well. I'm actually holding on.
Why are you politicians playing picky ponky with us?
It's a very difficult question, but I'll try and
just
simplify.
say something. Just say something in 15 seconds. Why are you politicians playing picky ponky with Kenyans?
It's because they know that the voters are always vulnerable. They know that if they had resources and they were able to buy the voter, then that gives them legitimacy. Then after that, you come to the National Assembly and the Senate and all the houses there are the parliament. And essentially, the system, as I've been saying, ends up being catch-22, where people have to steal money from the public to use it to make sure they bribe the public, for the public then to vote for them to own the legitimacy. And the only thing they believe that gives them the standard or makes them great and make Kenyans fear and respect them is how much money they have, how many cars they drive, how much land they have, irrespective of what the promises were during the elections about trying to alleviate poverty, change the status of Kenya, make sure that young people and old people are taken care of, the basics that any country needs to give. So that's why you hear me constantly saying the country is broken. And right now, what we need is to begin to figure out how do we fix this broken.
This year, the African Leadership University embarked on the second...
Why is the president playing picky ponky with us?
The president is mad. The president has been laughing and maliza. It has poisoned him to become a very, very greedy, ruthless bastard. And now that Mr. Peter Salasya is here, I need him to answer a very important question I've been asking. I've been wanting to ask someone above there. Mr. Peter Salasya, are you aware of now that you're one of the representatives of the Kakamega County? Are you aware of the gold mining that has been happening there, or that is about to happen there, in an area called Ikolomani, regardless of whether you represented that area or not? Are you aware of what is happening in your county? Please answer that, Tafadhali.
All right. I think he doesn't have. I've not seen him with a mic. Let him come in as Edgar brings him and the others. I've also seen Senator Okia here. So let's give them the mic as they come to answer those questions and be tough with the questions, Polo, about minerals. We are losing minerals in this country as politicians supervise and receive kickbacks from these people.
That's what I want to emphasize.
That's all right.
Ulienda kusomea kozi ngumu. Sasa maisha imekuonesha moto. Ukienda kutafuta kazi wanakwambia hiyo kazi ya hiyo masomo sisi hatuna. Maisha inakutandika character development. Na hapa unanjua Kenya sio ya nyanya yako. Unaamua kufanya ile kazi itakunja. Leo ni Munjengo, kesho uko na Nduthi. Na hiyo ndiyo inaitwa pikipiki ponki. Kila kitu ni pikipiki ponki. Pakamielo disco. Kila kitu maponki. Pakamielo disco. Pakamielo disco. Pakamielo. Kila kitu ni pikipiki ponki. Pakamielo disco. Maisha haitaki ujinga. Uliambiwa uolewe ukiwa msichana, lakini ukasema kwanza uvunje mifupa. Miaka nayo ndiyo hiyo inaonga dhate. Sasa maisha imekuonesha moto. Wambamba wameanza kunyemelea sister yako. Hakuna mtu anakutaka, umekuwa kanyanya. Maisha inakutandika character development. Na hapa unanjua Kenya sio ya nyanya yako. Maringo inaisha, unaolewa mbimbi ya 3. Hao mambimbi wengine wanakuwa na vita. Unatoloka na unasema mbola uwai. Na hiyo ndiyo inaitwa pikipiki ponki. Kila kitu ni pikipiki ponki. Pakamielo disco. Kila kitu maponki. Pakamielo disco. Pakamielo disco. Pakamielo. Kila kitu ni pikipiki ponki. Pakamielo disco. Nakwambia ni kumoto. Ni kundia lala. Fanya ile kitu unaweza sahi. Otherwise katanuka. Na kakinuka tunafunika mapua. Wapikula katonzwani MC Njage ni kumoto.
All right, Piki Piko Ponki. I don't know why politicians are playing Piki Piki Ponki with us. So, Polokimani, do we need leaders?
No, fuck leaders. What we need is representatives, not leaders. Leaders,
Yes.
we have seen what they can do. Leaders are fucking us. What we need is people who are there to represent our needs and listen to what we tell them so that they can forward it. If you are you asking about us as the Gen Z community?
Yes, you've seen the media pushing some narrative that one, Gen Zs need leaders. Number two, the people who are dying on the streets, they are dying. They are not being killed. I really want you to raise those two issues. Does the Gen Z need leaders? Does the Gen Z need politicians?
Question number one, we do not need leaders. What we need is what the other day I said. They are telling us that us having leaders is like a clickbait they are throwing at us so that we can have some kind of confusion, so that we find ourselves electing leaders who will then, because we all know leaders, to Kichagua leaders, they will compromise them. We do not need leaders. What we need is spoke. I'd call it a spokesperson, like the one I've seen Casmuel is doing a very good job. And why do we need leaders? Leaders to do what? To fuck us.
Usinyonge mtoto.
Oh, just pole sana. Just a minute.
Usimnyonge. Huyo ni Gen Alpha. We need them. Are you there, Polo? Hello? Kimani?
Yes, I'm back.
Yes.
As I was saying, we should not. The only reason we have come this far is because we do not have leaders. We do not need leaders. We only need people who will be representing us on the when it comes the time that we need to forward our needs. Leaders can go to hell. Politicians can also go to hell. And as we are proceeding with this space, I'm about to ask very intriguing questions to some of the leaders I'm seeing here, and I hope
they are politicians. They are politicians.
Yes, politicians.
Salasia, please mute your mic. Salasia, mute your mic, please.
Yes, and what was your other question, Mr. Eric?
Yeah, I was asking you about the issue of leaders and the media. Why do you think the media is pushing all these ridiculous narrative? I saw the first one is putting the movement on a bait, that they pick leaders, and then the other one is the kind of language they are using, anti-government protesters. People, Kenyans have died. They are not saying Kenyans have been killed.
Yeah,
you understand?
I've seen that, yeah.
So do you think it is necessary that the entire people whom we think will be the spokespeople of the movement should avoid the media and begin using other platforms to push the agenda forward?
The media has been compromised. And the other day I received some info that there was a meeting in State House by all these media, big people in the heads of these media houses. They are trying to dilute this movement as they want to water it down as hard as they can. And the media cannot be trusted. In fact, I was talking to one of my IT guys, and he tells me, "Unajua Kimani, what if we had like an app or a website where we support it, we build it as the people of Kenya, and then all of the things that are transpiring that we want to be aired out and filtered can be being zitakuwa forwarded up, and the Kenyans can see what is really happening." So the media cannot be trusted. The media is compromised. You saw what this madam called, was it Olivia Barron or Olivia something? You see what she was doing to Casmuel yesterday. Lucky enough, our guy, he went to Alliance. So the media, fuck the media. They cannot be trusted. Not at all. We cannot trust them with anything, even with unajua si hata, I don't think they are aware they are playing with our lives. A person like me, I'm putting my life on the line. I know the consequences of what I'm dealing with right now is, ni 6 feet under too. I know that, but I'm willing to take that risk because, there comes a time when a person, there was that story of one day the mice were having a conversation. They say the cat has hii paka imekuja sana, so we need a person who is going to put the bell on the cat's neck so that when the cat is coming, we can hear him coming. We can hear it coming. So there was that conversation of who is going to do that, who is going to do that. So I'm that person going to put the bell on the cat's neck. Hopefully, hopefully we'll still prevail. So for the media, fuck the media.
Good. Hold it there. Hizo swali zako za
Especially
minerals.
NTV.
Oh, okay. Hizo
Yes.
swali zako za minerals zishikilie hapo. Nimeona hapo Lewis, nasikia nyinyi wa Laikipia mmecall off protests. Mnasema nyinyi hamtaki protest tena, Wakenya wanakufa kwa protest na biashara zimeharibika. So watu wa Laikipia wamesema wamejitoa. So hii 8-8 itakuwaje, Lewis?
Yes, how are you? I've also seen the videos. They found me by surprise. Hakuna mtu wa Laikipia amesema tunaacha maandamano. The people who met today, personally I don't know any of the people on that video, but I've seen there are guys who know them. Some of them obviously, I would call them sellouts, although I don't know them in a personal capacity, but I don't know who's calling off maandamanos in Laikipia because we haven't had that discussion as a team. Nobody has, it hasn't reached my desk at the very least. So 8-8 tuko sawa. We're still on.
So wewe ulikuwa umeshikwa sometime na DCI wa Laikipia, sio? Ilikuwa na Nyuki?
Yes.
Nini shida ilikuwa nini?
Of course, hii mambo tu ya nini. In our town in Nanyuki, when we had the first maandamanos, they were very peaceful. So the second time we had maandamanos in Nanyuki, because the first time I remember it was when the OCS did not give us permission, quote unquote, but of course we still proceeded with the maandamanos. The second time, we had goons. There was a point at the maandamanos when I was asking people to be peaceful, and guys almost roughed me up, and I looked at the crowd, because Nanyuki is a very small town. We know everyone. And I was looking at the crowd, and there was nobody I could see. I couldn't see anybody that I knew in that crowd. And these guys were ready to rough me up. And I went back to a WhatsApp group and I begged people to remain peaceful. And then that was it. But then, so what happened was an area member of parliament, no, not our MP, actually, and this is one of the most interesting things that happened on that day. When people were looting, you would expect that guys would be looting, the CDF office, the MP's home. And I'm not saying they should, but logically speaking, if there was somebody you were angry at on that day, people skipped the MP's personal home, they skipped the CDF office, they went to the county assembly, which has absolutely nothing to do with the finance bill, and then they went and burnt down a supermarket owned by the member of parliament for Kieni. So I think that is exactly now why they were looking for me. But because they were not looking for me to arrest me, because I called the OCS and asked him, hey, I'm hearing that the guys who were looking for me, is it true? And the OCS went to the DCI, he asked them, came back, and they said, we have no idea. So even when they were looking for me, I'm not sure if they had any good, and I remember we had a chat at that time, Eric, and you're asking what was going on. So they were looking for me.
I asked you.
Yes, and a few guys, but of course, they were unable to find us. Then I submitted myself to the DCI offices in Nanyuki, and they detained me. And there was also a scuffle with my advocates because they insisted to understand why you're holding him, but they couldn't tell us. So that happened, and then there's a case in court. They have my devices as we speak, and I have another mention on 5th of August, which has been a crazy period. But anyway, we keep going.
Great. Can you unatuambia history ya minerals? Unajua huko Laikipia huko Nanyuki kuna minerals mingi sana. Hebu tuambie hiyo story. Wewe umewitness ama wewe unaonaje? Do you think Kenya is a very rich country with a lot of minerals, but you are not being told the truth?
I will give us a short story. There was a time, I think it was 2 years ago, I was part of there was a meeting between the British Council, the consulates, and obviously the British citizens who live in Nanyuki. And I was sent there, obviously, as a representative of the young people to go and listen in on the conversation. It was such an impromptu invitation. So I showed up. I had no idea what this conversation was about. And one of the things that truly, truly irked me was that when I went to this meeting, I could hear, before I even get to the point of minerals, just to understand the idea or the thought process with which our land is held in Nanyuki. And obviously, I'm not asking anybody to go into Union's Ranch. I remember one of the points that was raised as a key pain point by the British citizens was that they were bemoaning the encroachment of private ranches by the pastoralist communities, which was one hell of a statement, to be fair, because what do you mean the pastoralist communities are encroaching on private ranches? This is their land. So when it comes to talk about the issue of conservancies, I will be very honest, I don't know about that. I'm actually also reading through the information that I'm receiving online, and I'm truly, truly surprised as well. The other day I was seeing stories to do with Magadi, and I'm seeing stories to do with National Rangelands Trust. Last week we had a conversation at some place called Your Local, fantastic organization. We were having a conversation about quote unquote climate change and all those things, and the conversation on the carbon credits came up quite a number of times, but nobody was really able to understand, because I remember one of the things that they were talking about is that we need to restore our world, and these buzzwords that they use. And I asked a question: restore the earth to its natural state. And I was asking, because the earth is about 4 billion years old, it's had ice ages, it's had all these states that have all been natural and are never man-made. Humanity has existed for about 4 minutes in the timeline of the existence of the world. So at what point within the last 4 billion years do we consider the earth is natural, is its natural state? And why then do we think that humanity as an existence is not nature's way of even expressing its own evil side? So the idea that humanity is separate from the world in itself and that we're external observers of the world that we live in is one really, really interesting concept that I struggle to understand, even as we discuss issues to do with conservation, we discuss issues to do with minerals. So on minerals, I must admit, I don't know enough to respond to that question, but on the mindset that underscores, or the underlying mindset around land ownership and conservancies and all those things, it's quite it's a madness in Laikipia, I would say.
All right, thank you very much, Lewis, for that. We're hoping to see Nanyuki on Nane Nane. Sinio, ukweli?
You will, sure, absolutely.
All right. Okia, Senator, karibu sana. You have the mic.
Amjambo.
Hatujambo.
Yes.
Labda wewe.
Si jambo, niko tu. Tuko tu tunaombea nchi yetu.
Okay.
So I want to talk about the question of mining. I've personally visited the mines in Kakamega. We're also having these mines in Busia. And the other day you saw a large consignment of cyanide was spilled on the road somewhere where there's an accident, and they learned that the contents that were being transported was large consignment of cyanide, which are basically used in mining. That quantity of cyanide should tell you the amount of mining that's going on. I've been to Kakamega, where they have even gone as far as digging up that rehabilitation school for physically challenged children. You go to Busia, they've dug up to some schools. I've dug up now. There's one secondary school, the gate has been dug up. You try to get the intervention of the state. You learn that these fellows are wired up to the top. So the state agencies down here look like they are impotent. They cannot intervene. You try NEMA, there's nothing. They're using acid, sulfuric acid, sometimes to clean these things.
Edgar, did we lose him?
I also can't.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we
I can
lost
hear
you.
you.
Yeah, we lost you for a minute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know. You lost me. Anyway, hope nobody's interfering. But anyway, the issue with mining is I'm preparing a petition to the Senate. I don't know how far it will go, but the issue with mining needs immediate administrative action. First of all, large quantities of these minerals are being taken out. You find out, like in Busia, they don't have the capacity to smelt the main soil containing the main minerals, so they sell the soil in lorries. The lorry is about 35,000, which are taken out to Tanzania, and I'm told that's where the real gold is. So when you look at the whole thing, is that our minerals are being stolen with no formula. The same thing is happening in Pokot areas, in Northeastern, in Nyanza. So quick action is required, but this particular administration looks like it's not keen to intervene and put some regulatory measures in place because it's like it's benefiting them. When you find out even the social structures around the places in Busia, the area has become like a rural slum with so many people from outside the country running the shows. So everything is upside down, and it is sad for this country. When I went to the Kakamega one, they could not allow people in, but I was able to go in because I had to thump my chest a bit and tell them I'm a senator of the republic. You can't lock me out. So when I showed my identity, the fellows allowed me in. There's a big Rosterman mine, which the Mzungus used to mine and which the Chinese have now taken over. And you can just see that they're taking a lot of gold out. In the 50s, it's on record that Kakamega County loaned money to the British Crown, the county government of Kakamega, and it was from the gold. Taxes they were getting from the gold. So if that could happen in the 50s, what is it that is in the ground that these Chinese are picking up now that we don't know? When you look at the county government, they will know. Ask the administrator there, they tell you that they can't do anything because the orders seem to come from outside. You go to the national government structures, everybody's like, we can't do anything about it because these people are coming with the orders from Nairobi. So there's need for the people of this country to really rise up and say, enough is enough. And if we can't utilize what is in the ground profitably, let it stay there until we can do that. Because the challenge of leadership is just one. The challenge of leadership is to convert resources into wealth. Is the human resource, let it be able to be converted into wealth. If it's the natural resource, let it be able to be converted into wealth so that the people can thrive. The people can have material progress. There's no other point in leadership. So I think the people need to rise up on this issue and they demand that the minerals be exploited in a manner that benefits the country. The environmental damage has to be checked. Yes. The threats to the disease and whatever has to be checked, and the value of the gold has to be known.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to speak to.
Okay, just hold on. Senator, you will tell us about our medical system. There is this shift that is being pushed on us, despite us telling them that it is not worth it. There is that issue you've raised of the cabinet. You said you want to come up with a shadow cabinet. You will tell us what went into your head for you to consider coming up with a shadow cabinet. And then you will, of course, talk to us about that issue of foreign mercenaries coming to hijack our healthcare system for their own benefit. I hope I'm clear. And yes.
I wanted to. This is Senator Onyonka. I wanted to say something. I don't know that it's possible.
Yeah, go on.
I first of all want to really thank Senator Umtata. He was the lone voice of reason and intellect that many of us kinda dismissed, and as he kept on raising these issues. If you look at the story about our minerals, if you look at Kenya as a country, you will be shocked. What happened to me about 3 weeks ago is that a person, and by the way, many people keep asking, where do you get this information, even the story about the airport and all that? There are some wonderful people, just like Mr. Amenya, the guy who first raised the red flag. The truth is, somebody sent me a message and it was an executive order. And it was an executive summary. That executive summary is presumably, and I say this with a lot of courtesy because when I got that report, I was shocked that we have rare minerals at the coastal area. These rare minerals that the Americans are interested in them, and the amount of money they're willing to pay as I speak to you today from that executive summary is about 100 billion US dollars. That money should be able to pay all our debts. That money should be able to organize our country if we wanted to. The problem you have is that there are vested interests. There are people who have run our mineral sector like it was the njugus which they eat every morning. And I want to thank Umtata, and there are a few people who've been giving us the information and intel. And I want to mention to this team here, I have listened to what you've been doing for the last most probably 2 months. I really congratulate all of you. I want to tell you this, it's not easy when some of us get on TV and we say what we say. I wish many of you knew what we go through. Some of the journalists have been really wonderful. I can tell you this. That's why I don't want us to condemn all journalists. Some of them are the ones who give us some of the intel. Some of them are the ones who tell us where things are going wrong. My honest observation is that this team stay together, be strong, don't be challenged. This country is yours. Kenya has a capacity, yes, of becoming like Singapore. But the nonsense that goes on about stealing of public funds, the issue of where everybody who is in power and in authority thinks every person in Kenya is an idiot, that has to end. People want service, people want dignity, people want fairness. That's why I support you guys. I support you people 1000%. I will not change my thinking and my beliefs. The other thing I wanted to suggest to this team is this. You've lost your troops. Please, every time you have this show, dedicate 1 hour for those young men and women who have fallen. We may not be able to pay for their lives, but those are people who believed in the real ideals of what a good country is, where there's democracy, where we fight about bigger things. The small things are available, clean water, good roads, where everybody values their responsibility in this republic. Right now, our country is broken down. I want to say that Umtata, Senator Olekina, my brother Sifuna, Cherargei, I will tell you, there are people in UDA. What you people may not realize, some of the people in UDA are the ones who've been telling us, please shout. Shout because everything is being broken down so that people can steal your resources.
Why can they shout themselves?
They are uncomfortable. It's not easy to do what you people are doing and what I'm doing. It's not easy what Salasia has been saying. It's not easy. Gentlemen and ladies.
But Mheshimiwa, if it is not easy, why not leave? Why not say this is too much? enough is enough, I am out. Why can't you say that?
The reality is that I will talk for myself. That is why I decided to take the option of talking about these things. The others can decide what to do with their political lives. I was brought up by a father who told me, sometimes you speak the truth. Sometimes you must be able to carry the most vulnerable. Don't you ever think that for me being a minister at the age of 27, when I had come back with a PhD and I lived in Lavington, and you think that is the ideal. The ideal is when you go down to the grassroots and look at the people who enabled me to go to school to get this PhD so that these people can be picked up to be like me and you. That is where I am. That's the war. That's the fight.
Okay. We hear you. We nani unasikizana na hiyo story kweli? Polo. Hiyo story inakufurahisha kweli?
Nasikia kani excuse. I'm not really buying it, but okay, he has said it. That's what he has said. I'll try to accommodate that.
Okay, asante. Kuna hapa mtu anaitwa.
I want to
please,
say,
yes.
Americ, can I say one last thing?
Please
Not
say,
one
please
last thing, but I'll be listening and I'll be until we finish the show. I want to say that the reality of any movement, the reality of any liberation struggle. I hope many of your members will read a book by a guy called Walter Rodney. There was a book done by Shamara Machel before he died. In the movement, you are going to be disappointed and you're going to feel betrayed. The reality is those who remain strong and keep believing in what they are fighting for are the ones who history will recognize. Many of us will not be recognized by history. We may be rich, we may have everything, we may have good homes, but if we are able to let our children starve, have our women who are giving birth die as if there's nothing that matters, get our children to go to school, parents selling their land and raising money through Harambe, which then becomes a corrupt mechanism. And these children, once they're finishing from school, you then get out here and find there's nothing. States are not run like that. A state must be able to carry its people, all sectors, make sure that we are able to think through what are we going to do to take care of the Gen Z. Don't tell me that you want young men to go to Germany and Britain, and that is the only excuse you've got, and those are the jobs you're creating. I lived in America.
Lakini we mheshimiwa, just hold on, mheshimiwa. Yes. Unajua we unaongea poa, unaongea vizuri, nini. Lakini nyinyi mkiingia huko kwa parliament, amuongei hizi vitu. Kwa mfano, right now counties are very corrupt.
Yes.
Kuna county nyingine huko Western inaitwa Bungoma. Ilinunua flowers za 149 million. Mimi sijasikia senator yote akiongelea. Huko Nakuru nasikia kuna wizi. In fact, if you are from Nakuru, I'm told in the next 5 years mtashindwa pahali pa kuishi. Mbona nyinyi senators amuongelea hii story? Mnakuja kuongelea kwa space, unaongea vizuri, lakini mkiingia kwa bunge amuongei. You are not talking when you are in the chambers.
Can I respond?
Yeah, go on.
Please go and listen to my clip when I was talking about what happened in Bungoma. It's on classical radio. I talked about it. I'm the one who raised the issue. I'm the one who raised the issue of the airport. I am the one who has been raising alone, singularly, and my brother Sifuna, Umtata, and the other teams who realized we're going the wrong way. Go and look at the clips I have spoken in the last 5 years. I started talking about corruption. I have talked about CDF, how it has done some good work, but most of the time it is abused and misused. I'm the one who has talked about why are we giving 70 billion to the government parechniks where they share the money and pretend like they are giving this money to poor people. You go. I have been talking about these issues, and I don't give myself credit. It is simply because I am simply telling it the way it is. And I've said, I know the risks, I know the challenges. By the way, I don't have to run for any political office after this. I am where I never thought I would be. And that is, I'll continue saying the truth. I'll have people who are going to be insulting, those who will doubt whether I believe in it. I'll tell you this, nobody believed in Martin Luther King talking about the emancipation of the Black community in America until he made his speech in Washington, D.C.
So in your capacity, what are you doing to advance the demands of the Gen Z protest? Wewe in your capacity unafanya nini?
Thank you. My job is as a senator. I cannot carry a gun and go and kill anybody who has stolen public money. I am willing to engage with Sifuna, engage with my brother Umtata, engage with all the people who are Selassie, so that we can use the law that we have to start changing. We can go to the Senate and bring in a petition where we're demanding that the government provides free education from primary school to secondary school up to university. Don't ask me why I didn't do it before. Most probably I didn't think about it. I am now thinking about it. We are going to get the ESCC. We are going to challenge the president if he's willing to listen, or anybody who works with him. We must clean out the way we are fighting corruption without being vindictive, without attacking our political enemies. If somebody has broken the law, let him face the law and go through the process. We are going to demand that county governments are given their money and they're given their resources, but they must stop the stealing that is going on, because they're disenfranchising our poor people. Kids are running away from the county governments, and yet the amounts of money that we're giving the county governments are mind-boggling, and the corruption engaged is crazy. So some of us are trying our best. I really hope that you guys will be encouraging us and not criticizing how we've messed it before. The truth is, some of us never saw it before.
The issue of ID cards. Right now, ID cards, I'm told they're supposed to expire. Of course, that could be beyond your jurisdiction as a senator. Then there's a petition you raised. You asked some questions from the Senate. You had written a petition about the JKI hist. Wamekuambia nini na inatusaidia aje? Because unajua kitu ya airport ni kitu serious. Hatutaki tuambie kesho tuambiwe airport imeshachukuliwa.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to say that, first of all, I thank whoever that gave me that information. And it was a young man, Amenya, I think you know him. He lives in France. I mention his name because it's already in public. He sent me the message. It was one of the most difficult things I had to do, because I looked, I checked, I saw who handles this, and some of those people are my friends. I decided to raise it because I knew that the implication of us allowing all our airports to be controlled by foreigners, first of all, it would be against the law. Number two, the committee where I sat, where I had a friend who then told me what they had discussed is that we will not, under IPPGs, allow our airports or even the Port of Mombasa to be given out. So when I saw this information and I looked at the evidence provided, I said, I can take the risk and I can fall with it if it is not true. Fortunately, everything I said is true. Fortunately, I'm waiting for the Committee of Kenya Airports Authority to come to the Senate within the next 1 week. I want them to come and give us the agreements they have signed with whoever that they have signed with. And I can tell you, even if you ask Honorable Mtata, we will fight like hell to make sure that the airports are not sold, the Port of Mombasa is not sold. And the issue you're talking about, minerals, let me say something here so that Kenyans are aware. All your oil in Turkana County, your big leadership and the big boys in the system went and bought blocks where the oil is. That's why you can't export the oil unless that system is dismantled. There's nothing we can do. So this is the time for us to start dismantling such nonsense where 10, 15 individuals go and allocate themselves 500,000 acres of land where the oil is, and they're trying to make money out of it. I thank the people of Turkana, especially even when some of the politicians are not very good. Some of the Turkana leadership is the one which said, you cannot mine our oil, and yet you don't give us what the Constitution talks about. These are the issues that are outstanding in our country, and I want you guys to be the last line of defense. Don't give up, because this country has everything to be shared equitably, fairly, and everybody will be happy, and we leave that for our children, your children, and other grandchildren.
Wakenya, wananchi, this is your space. Ask for that mic. We really need to put these politicians on the edge. This is our space. Itisheni mic, muulize maswali. We want answers to whatever is happening to this country because it's very serious. Lewis, do you think we should recall these politicians? Yes, Polo.
I want to ask Salasia nataka tu kumuuliza swali moja. Salasia, unajua hivi vitu inafanyika Kakamega ama ujui ama mnajifanya tu mzioni because you are going to say it's the big boys who are playing this game so you can't do anything. Are you aware or you are not aware? Please answer that as we continue.
Pastor, I want to thank the convener of the platform today. Number one, I've heard what Senator Tata has just said, and one thing I've just noted is that the issue to do with the mineral is a matter that needs to be addressed with a lot of seriousness. And the reason being is that we do not have serious legal framework that guides anything to do touching on the natural resources of this country. I remember last time when I went to Nigeria, and Nigerian people were crying that the 1 liter of fuel, it was going at 25. But when the Tinubu or whoever came in, the president, he went to 50 shillings per liter. And there was outcry in the entire when I was in Nigeria last year. And that one tells you that because they have the natural resources and it is benefiting the entire country. And looking at this and taking it as an example, you see that we have a lot of natural resources. As a good example is we have the gold mine that we are having here in Kakamega County. You realize that from since independence, there has been no clear, and that's why you find that most of the people have been dying there because there's no technology inside there. Look like today, if you are producing, you're lucky you've gotten the gold. You have to go, your soil or wherever has to be taken to Siaya to be so that it can be I don't know the word to call, to be refined or so that it can be able to know if there is gold or no. So you find like you take your gold, it goes to the other side. You don't know whether it is a soil or it was pure, whatever. There's no marketing structure. So there's no regulation on prices and all that. And I think that yes.
I just asked you, are you aware that the people of Ikolomani are being asked to move from their ancestral lands because the Chinese who have gotten those tenders of mining this gold want to mine this gold, regardless of whether the people will accept or not? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware, but that's why I'm saying it's a very also good example. Like we must have the legal frameworks that should be guiding, because those who are the genuine people who have been staying there for some time. But also there's an issue that Senator Onyonka has just said, that you find when people realizes that there is mineral, they go and buy the land and starts to frustrate the whole process. The same thing is also happening with the clinker in Kajiado, that you find like the entire block of clinker that is the main component of producing cement is only benefiting. It has been monopolized to benefit only DEFCI, and that is why you realize that despite the fact that we have the natural resources of clinker, which could have dropped the price of cement from 900 even to, because before even the clinker it was about 700, but now after they starting the production, the clinker, it has come down, it has even gone upper to 900. But these natural resources should be able to benefit the entire nation by bringing down the prices of cement.
Peter, umeulizwa tu swali simple. Umeulizwa,
Yes.
are you aware watu wa Kakamega County wanafukuzwa kwa mashamba yao because of minerals? And then wewe unafanya nini ku ensure that hizi hawa watu wafukuzwi na hii mineral inafaidi hawa watu ambao ni watu wako?
Yeah, that is what
also, sorry, can I interject so that you can answer the questions together? You've also mentioned, Salasia, that we don't have a legal framework. Are you not a lawmaker? Where do you want the legal framework to come from?
Yeah, that is why I've said that you know, the way
Salasia, we do not want it to look like you are reporting to us. We are okay in as much as we are your bosses. We want you to articulate issues and answer the questions as they have been tabled.
Yes. First, I said that as a lawmaker, we have failed to raise these issues. And I think this is a wake-up moment, a wake-up minute, whereby every time now I've noted, even from now, the moment I go back to the parliament, I'm also going to seek the legal counsel so that they can help draft the laws to help whether the locals and even those who are involved, so that as much as the locals, they want maybe to be encouraged to move out, how are they going to be benefited? And I've just talked with the county government of Kakamega to tell me what is happening at the moment in regarding the Ikolomani people. And what they have told me, they have not told me about the evacuation of the people. They have only told me about the contractor who was launched in months of the April, that he has started the groundbreaking. But also they are doing the capacity building in terms of encouraging people to accept the modern technology.
Mr. Peter,
Yes.
let me just give you a clue of what is happening. Unajua nyinyi mnaona kani mchezo na sisi tumepanga, in fact next time round tunataka nyinyi MP wote mrudi nyumbani, hakuna kitu mnafanya. Now, let me just give you a clue of what is happening. The people of Ikolomani, this contractor has come here, he has said he has a budget of about 500 million of evacuating almost half of this constituency of Ikolomani. 500 million to evacuate half of the constituency. But the gold mines, in the estimated worth of this gold in Kolomani is about 300 billion. Halwale alianda quote in one of the he was giving, and he said it's worth 170 billion. It's not worth 170 billion. It's worth more than 300 billion. So I want you to understand that this contractor game wanacheza ni chafu sana. He wants to remain with about 300 billion ukitoa 500 million. That's like 299.5 billion. Hiyo ndo wanakula. And you know some of this, all of this tax is all of this money revenue they are making is untaxed. And you as a lawmaker, you are responsible for all this shit that is happening. Regardless of whether Rachel Ruto, the wife to the president of Kenya, also went there and said she's adopting 200 acres. Who the fuck adopts a forest in the name of forest reclamation? Regardless of whether she went there and adopted it, but we also know it's because of the gold that is there in that place called the Rosterman. You as a lawmaker and your other MPs are the ones who are supposed to be. But I don't hear you talking about these issues. Why? What is happening? What is wrong with you?
Kwanza Peter, kabla uongee.
Yes, yes.
Ile tourist attraction yenye nakuanga pale Mukumu, the one that is called Honga Murui, the crying stone. Are you aware that that thing has been already taken away by some developer? Jamaa alikuja amedanganya Kakamega County that that place is he's going to invest. Ame take over that place. Na tuna suspect that place is rich in something. Is rich in some mineral. Tuje mbona nyinyi mtusaidii bana. Nyinyi tunawapigia kura mwende mtusaidie, mnafika huko mnatusahau. That place is going. Hiyo place inachukuliwa. Na nyinyi mnaangalia tu. Hebu jibu hiyo swali Polo amekuuliza.
I think one thing that we have failed is that there's some of the civil societies, and you think you remember that most of the civil societies have died in this country. And are some of the things that they are the watchdog to raise some of the issues, because if I couldn't have come on this X, I could not have noted what is happening like in this Kakamega County. And I think from now, it is my duty now to go and write a question raising, asking the PS or the minister of the mining and to come and explain give us the report on what exactly is happening. But a good idea to solve the matter that is there should be that framework that tells you that if this investor is coming, if he's not going to give the money like what is needed there.
Yeah.
If they can enter into partnership,
Eric,
and maybe once we get into a partnership, we agree that this is the sharing formula of whatever we are going to get in from there, so that at the end of the day we can come to a conclusion. And I think the X space is raising. It is now coming to be a platform that is waking up. And we know that members of parliament, we are in different committees. So sometimes, like for me, I'm in the committee of agriculture. So I'm more conversed with the issues to do with the agriculture. Now you find like maybe if I'm not in the mining committee, I might not be able to know what exactly is happening and all, but still we have a leeway whereby I can also go and write and seek a statement from the house and call upon the CS to come and explain to us on what is exactly happening. But because I'm still also in Western as we speak, I will also go and check and find out what is happening, and even also the Ministry of Environment of Kakamega County, whether they know what is happening and what is their way forward.
You mentioned something about
Honorable
sitting
Peter.
in the agriculture committee. This livestock bill 2024, the one that has been tabled by Kimani Chungwa. Why Why?
Yes,
Why?
Eric.
Yes.
Perhaps before you switch off to the livestock bill, allow me to weigh in. On the mining issues. This is Degwa.
Yeah, go on.
And bring Mheshimiwa up to speed. And tell him that what is lacking is not the framework. I don't know whether he's aware that in 2016 we enacted the Mining Act, which gave the frameworks on how mining and minerals will be exploited. And the beginning of that act, or the basis of that act, is that all minerals are held by the national government in trust for the people of the Republic of Kenya. There is no minister, there is no government that owns those minerals. They hold them in trust for the government of the Republic of Kenya. If you are to go in Laikipia, and I had a gentleman submitting those in that regard. All minerals, whether they are on private land that is freehold, or they're on leasehold. The Constitution speaks or states that they